In the wild, animals have to fend for themselves and be resourceful in order to find food and survive. And while you undoubtedly romanticize their tales, like the jungle or desert, it really is a case of every animal for themselves. Hello, the Lion King. We shouldn't forget that these places aren't just exciting for our furry friends. They're extremely dangerous. For instance, young animals in the wild immediately learn that they'll have to stay strong and stick with their families if they want to survive. Though looking cute may be a perk in the human world, a lack of it can keep you from easily securing your position in the animal kingdom. So when one adorable lion cub grew ill, it was no surprise that her pride left her to fend for herself. A paw would only slow down the team, and they couldn't risk that.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
How would the cub survive without her family? In February of 2012, a dying female lion cub was discovered on the outskirts of a farm in Botswana. She was starving and could barely move. Without any immediate help, she would have most likely died without hope. But luckily, rescuers showed up just in time to save her and give her a chance at life once again. Her rescuers named the young cub Surga, and they were hopeful that she would be able to hang on with their tender love and care. Surga's story was an unspeakable one. For a cub, so young she'd endured a tremendous amount already. Surga was one of 3 young cubs born to her Botswana-based pride. When the 2 other cubs passed away and Surga's own health began to fail, the pride decided to leave her to fend for herself. Without the protection from her pride, Surga's fate seemed bleak. Conservationist Valentin Gruner led the team that found Surga. He spearheaded a campaign to bring the young cub back to his headquarters and treat her for malnutrition and exposure to the elements. As the co-founder of the Matasa Wildlife Project in Kalahari, Botswana, Valentin felt it was his duty to help save the life of this desperate cub. Working with a local veterinarian, they decided Surga, who weighed just 4 pounds, needed an IV drip to help rehydrate her. Valentin and the veterinarian hoped that the IV treatment and a special diet of fresh eggs, cream milk, vitamins, sunflower oil, and calcium would help with the hard work of nursing Surga back to health. Still, they weren't sure what the outcome would be. To everyone's surprise, Surga didn't just survive, the tiny cub began to grow and thrive. People at the headquarters couldn't believe it. To this day, we believe she is probably the most spoiled and well-fed lion in Botswana, Valentin said with a smile. After about a year of special care, Surga had put on 170 pounds. Valentin and his team decided it was time to take her off of her special diet and get her acclimated to the raw meat diet that she would enjoy if she were living in the wild. Because she had been abandoned by her own pride, Surga viewed Valentine and the others at headquarters as her real family. However, at 3 years old, Surga was becoming large enough that Valentin and his staff couldn't play with her the same way they did when she was younger and smaller. Eventually, Valentin became the only person who could manage Surga's playful spirit. It made sense since he had rescued her from death and had been with her every step of the way. She considered him as her surrogate father. She might have been bigger than Valentin, but that didn't stop her from resting her head in his lap to fall asleep or flinging herself into his arms for a hug. She treated him with the same affection that human children give to their parents. For a Valentin, Surga was like his daughter, and just like any other parent, he faced a lot of challenges when it came to dealing with his 3-year-old, including some that would even make the parents of human toddlers quake in their boots. Valentin and the other conservationists worked overtime to help put some of that toddler energy to good use by helping Surga learn the skills that she would need in order to survive in the wild. What started off as a way to help keep Surga occupied throughout the day became a mission. Valentin knew that the right thing for Surga was to help prepare her for her eventual return to the desert where she truly belonged. One of the most important skills Surga needed was how to hunt. Believe it or not, hunting isn't a natural instinct in lions. It's something they learned from older members of the pride, which meant that Valentin had to learn how to hunt too. It was slow going at first, but eventually Surga began to pick up the vital skill. This was a tremendous relief to Valentin, who knew that once she returned to the wild, it would be kill or be killed for the lioness. We didn't want Surga to become like other lions in captivity, constantly fed by streams of tourists, said Valentin. She hunts her own food, taking antelopes, and she will let us be near her when she eats it, which is remarkable. For this reason, Valentin and his team worked hard to make sure that Surga wasn't too domesticated. We want to release her eventually as a wild lion, not as one who has met lots of. That would be dangerous. She only interacts with us, said Valentine. Filmmaker Jurgen Josfoix eventually heard about Valentin and Surga's story. He was so inspired that he started work on a 6-part series about their bond called Lionheart. If all went according to plan, the movie would also feature Surga's release and the undoubtedly difficult goodbye for Valentin. Surga's entire life with Valentin has been about preparing for her eventual return to the wild. However, that didn't mean it would be easy for either her or Valentin to say goodbye to each other. The bond they shared was truly one of a kind. Surga owes her entire life to Valentin, and she's super important to him too. Thank goodness they were able to find each other. It seems like it did them both a world of good.